The officer stepped out of his patrol car. He saw a black man jogging down the street. Nice houses, clean sidewalks, expensive cars in driveways. "Hey, stop right there. What are you doing in this neighborhood?" The jogger slowed down. He was confused. He was wearing shorts and running shoes, nothing else. "I'm just running. I live here." The officer looked him up and down. His face showed doubt. "You live here, in this neighborhood?" "Yeah, right down the street." The officer paused, then he smiled a little, not a friendly smile. "Huh, okay, sure. You got any ID on you?" "No, I'm just out for a jog. I don't carry." "Turn around, hands behind your back, now." "Wait, what? I didn't do anything." "I said turn around. You're making this difficult." This officer had no idea what he just walked into. In the next 14 minutes, his career would be destroyed. His department would face the whole country's anger, and a $12.4 million lawsuit would land on his desk. The suspicious jogger he just put in handcuffs, a decorated Olympic track and field athlete, someone who represented the United States on the world stage. This man had trained with the best coaches in the country. He had crossed finish lines in front of millions of fans. His face had been on magazine covers. And right now, the officer's body cam was recording every single second. Before I continue, let me ask you something. Have you ever been treated unfairly by someone in power? Drop your answer in the comments below. But this officer had no idea who he just put in handcuffs. The jogger's name was Moss Russell. She was a professional track and field athlete, not just any athlete, an Olympic gold medalist. She won gold in the 100-meter hurdles at the Paris 2024 Olympics. She was a champion at the University of Kentucky. She had won multiple NCAA titles. She was an All-American athlete. Moss had represented Team USA on the biggest stage in the world. She had trained at the best facilities with Olympic coaches. Her face had been on sports magazines. She had signed big deals with major brands. She was famous, really famous. But to this officer, she was just a black person who didn't belong. Moss had recently moved to a nice neighborhood in Los Angeles. Big houses, quiet streets, the kind of place where people feel safe. Her morning jog was part of her training. She did it every day. She had every right to be there. She owned a home on that street. On this particular morning, Moss Russell was just trying to do what she had done thousands of times before: run. But to this officer, she was just a suspicious person. Now here's what happened next. The officer who made this stop had a history that would soon be exposed to everyone. We will call him Deputy John Doe. His real name will come out in the lawsuit. He worked for the LA County Sheriff's Department. He had been an officer for 8 years. 8 years, that's a long time to learn how to treat people fairly. But internal records would later show something different. 6 complaints in 4 years, every single one involved stops of black residents. Every single one happened in nice neighborhoods. Let me say that again. 6 complaints, all about the same thing, stopping black people for no good reason. Here is what those complaints showed. In 2021, he stopped a black real estate agent. The agent was just showing houses to clients. No crime, no charges, just a black man in a nice neighborhood. In 2022, he pulled over a black delivery driver. The driver was in a gated community, doing his job, complaint filed. In 2023, he questioned a black homeowner. The man was washing his own car, in his own driveway, in front of his own house. The homeowner filed a formal complaint. Fellow officers called these neighborhood checks, but other people called them something else: racial profiling. 6 complaints, no real punishment, no firing, no serious review. And now, on this morning, he picked the wrong jogger. Type justice in the comments if you think this pattern should have been caught earlier. It was early morning, about 6:45 a.m. The sun was just coming up. The neighborhood was quiet. Sprinklers were running on perfect green lawns. Expensive cars sat in driveways. Big houses with big windows. This was an upscale area in Los Angeles County. Homes worth millions of dollars. The kind of place people dream about living in. A few neighbors were out. Some were walking their dogs. Others were getting their newspapers. Just a normal morning. Moss Russell was on her regular route, the same route she ran every day, past the same houses, down the same sidewalks. She knew this area, it was her home. Then she heard a car slow down behind her. She did not think much of it at first. Cars pass joggers all the time. But this car did not pass. It pulled up next to her, A patrol car. The officer stepped out. His hand moved toward his belt. His body cam was on. The timestamp was visible. Hey. He looked at Masai. His face was hard, suspicious. Hey, stop right there. Masai stopped. She was breathing hard from her run. She was confused. What was happening? What are you doing in this neighborhood? What happened next would be watched by millions. It would cost this officer everything. If stories like this matter to you, hit that subscribe button right now. The officer walked toward Masai. His body was tense. His voice was hard. I asked you a question. What are you doing here? I'm jogging, Masai said. I live here, right down the street. The officer looked at the houses around them, then back at her. His face showed he did not believe her. You got any ID? No, I'm just out for a run. I don't carry ID when I jog. That's convenient. Excuse me. I said that's convenient. No ID, no proof you live here. Masai stayed calm. She had dealt with this before. Black people often do. I can give you my address. You can check. The officer pulled out his radio. He did not check anything. Instead, he kept questioning her. Where exactly do you live? She gave him her address. The house was 2 blocks away. I'll need to verify that. Stay right here. Am I being detained? I'm conducting an investigation. What crime am I suspected of? Suspicious activity. Suspicious activity, jogging in workout clothes, on a public sidewalk, in her own neighborhood. The officer's voice got louder. Put your hands behind your back. Why? I didn't do anything. I'm not going to ask you again. Masai's heart was pounding. Not from running, from fear. She knew what could happen when black people argue with police. She put her hands behind her back. Click, click, the handcuffs locked around her wrists. This is unbelievable, she said. I live right there, you can see my house from here. The officer did not care. A neighbor looked out her window. She saw what was happening. She grabbed her phone and came outside. Hey, that's my neighbor. What are you doing? Another neighbor started recording. A dog walker stopped and stared. The officer ignored them all. He tightened his grip on Masai's arm. Stop resisting. I'm not resisting, I'm standing still. More neighbors came out. More phones started recording. What this officer did not know was that one of those neighbors had already recognized Masai's face. From the Olympics. Let me know in the comments, have you ever seen something like this happen? One neighbor walked right up to the officer. His name was James Morton. He was a retired lawyer. He had lived in the neighborhood for 15 years. Officer, do you have any idea who this woman is? The officer turned to look at him. His face was annoyed. Sir, step back. This doesn't concern you. It absolutely concerns me. This is my neighbor. I've watched her jog past my house for months. The officer shook his head. I don't care who she thinks she is. She couldn't provide ID. James took a step closer. She's an Olympic gold medalist. She won in Paris. She represented the United States of America. For the first time, the officer paused. His face changed, just a little. What? She won gold for this country, and you put her in handcuffs for jogging. Masai spoke up. Her voice was steady but frustrated. I tried to tell you, I live here, I train here. This is my neighborhood. Another neighbor walked over. Her name was Sarah Chen. She was still holding her phone, still recording. I got everything on video. This is racial profiling. I'm sending this to everyone I know. A third person joined them, Marcus Williams. He was also a jogger. He was white. I run this exact route every single day. Nobody has ever stopped me, not once, never. The officer's partner arrived in another patrol car. He got out and walked over. He looked at the scene. All the neighbors, all the phones, all the anger. He pulled the first officer aside. They talked quietly. The second officer walked back to his car. He ran Masai's address through his computer. Confirmed she lived there. She owned the home. He walked back to his partner. She's a resident, let her go. The first officer stood there. His face was red. He knew he had made a mistake, a big one. Slowly, he walked behind Masai. He unlocked the handcuffs. He did not say sorry. He did not explain. You're free to go. That was it, no apology, no explanation, just those 4 words. Masai rubbed her wrists. The metal had left marks on her skin. You put me in handcuffs for jogging, in my own neighborhood. Do you understand how wrong that is? The officer said nothing. He walked back to his patrol car. He got in. He drove away. But the neighbors were still there. The videos were still recording. The body cam footage was saved on a server somewhere. By now, this officer was starting to understand how badly he had messed up. But he had no idea what was coming next. Wait until you hear what happened after this. The calls started coming in within hours. Neighbors called the LA County Sheriff's Department. They described what they saw. They were angry, very angry. By noon, the department knew they had a problem, a big one. Internal Affairs opened an investigation. This is the part of the police department that looks into officer wrongdoing. They took the case seriously. Masai's lawyer called the department that same day. He made it clear, this was not going away. The body cam footage was pulled, supervisors watched it, then they watched it again. Everything the neighbors said was true. The officer had no good reason to stop Masai. He had no right to put her in handcuffs. He treated her like a criminal for jogging. Then they looked at the officer's history. Those 6 complaints, all involving Black residents, all in nice neighborhoods. A pattern, a clear pattern of the same behavior. The officer's story fell apart fast. He claimed Masai was acting suspicious. The video showed her jogging in athletic clothes, on a sidewalk, in the morning, like thousands of other people. He claimed she was uncooperative. The video showed her answering every question, staying calm, following his orders. He claimed he was just doing his job. The video showed him handcuffing an innocent woman who lived on that street. The department made a decision. The officer was placed on leave. That means he could not work while they investigated. The sheriff himself called Masai. He apologized personally. He said the department took this very seriously. But was that enough, after 6 complaints and no real action? The officers' union gave him a lawyer. They put out a statement about due process. That means everyone deserves a fair investigation. But the officer himself said nothing. His social media accounts disappeared. Other officers started distancing themselves from him. No one wanted to be connected to what he did. Masai gave an interview. She was still shaken. You could see it in her eyes. The fear, the frustration, the disbelief. Her neighbors rallied around her. They organized a community meeting. They wanted answers. If you think officers should be held accountable, hit subscribe right now. But the consequences were just starting. Because those cell phone videos, they were already being uploaded. The first video hit the internet at 9 a.m. It was Sarah Chen's video, the one she recorded on her phone. She posted it on Twitter, then Instagram, then Facebook. By 10 a.m., 50,000 people had watched it. By noon, 500,000 views. Sports websites picked it up. ESPN, Bleacher Report, they all ran the story. By 3 p.m., it was national news. CNN covered it. NBC covered it. ABC covered it. Every major network was talking about it. By midnight, 4 million people had seen the videos. 4 million. The comments flooded in, thousands of them. She literally won gold for this country, and this is how she's treated. Jogging while Black shouldn't be a crime. This officer needs to be fired immediately. How many times does this have to happen? Fellow Olympic athletes posted their support. Famous runners, famous coaches, they all stood with Masai. The sheriff's department held a press conference. They promised a full investigation. They said they took the matter seriously. But people were not satisfied. They wanted action, real action, not just words. The officer stayed silent. No statement, no apology, nothing. His union said he deserved due process. That just made people angrier. International news picked up the story. People in other countries saw what happened. They saw an Olympic champion handcuffed for jogging in her own neighborhood. 3 days later, Masai held a press conference of her own. And she did not hold back. Type accountability in the comments if you think this officer should face real consequences. Masai Russell filed a federal lawsuit. The amount, $12.4 million. Let me say that number again, $12.4 million. The lawsuit claimed several things. Unlawful detention. That means she was held without a legal reason. Racial profiling. That means she was stopped because of her race. Violation of the Fourth Amendment. That is the part of the Constitution that protects people from unfair searches and arrests. And emotional distress. That means the incident hurt her mentally and emotionally. The lawsuit was filed in federal court, the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. But the lawsuit revealed something even bigger. During discovery, lawyers found more evidence. Discovery is when both sides share information before trial. They got the officer's full complaint history. 6 complaints, we already knew that, but now everyone would know the details. Every complaint involved Black residents. Every complaint happened in wealthy neighborhoods. Every complaint described the same pattern, stopping Black people for no good reason. And the department, they had done almost nothing about it. A few notes in a file, no real punishment, no firing, no serio. Us review. Similar cases have settled for $1 to $5 million. Some have gone even higher. The $12.4 million was not just about Maasai, it was about the pattern. The officer remained on leave, but everyone knew his career was over. No matter what happened in court, he would never patrol those streets again. The department faced bigger problems too. Federal oversight was possible. That means the federal government might come in and watch how they operate. They announced mandatory training for all officers. Maasai made a statement about the lawsuit. This isn't about money. It's about making sure this doesn't happen to the next person. I had cameras. I had witnesses. I had people who recognized me. What about those who don't have those things? She was right. What about them? 3 days after the incident, Maasai held a press conference. It was at her lawyer's office. Reporters filled the room. She looked tired, but her voice was strong. I've faced pressure on the world's biggest stages. Olympics, World Championships, millions of people watching, but nothing prepared me for being handcuffed in my own neighborhood. She paused, the room was silent. I couldn't sleep for days after. I kept asking myself, what if I had said the wrong thing? What if I had moved too fast? What if a neighbor hadn't come outside? Those questions hung in the air. I've represented this country. I've worn the flag on my chest. I've heard the national anthem play while standing on top of the podium, and I was still treated like a criminal for jogging. She had a message for others who face this kind of treatment. Know your rights, document everything, and never believe that staying silent will protect you, because it won't. She had a message for law enforcement too. The badge is supposed to protect everyone, not just the people you think belong in certain places. Maasai talked about what she wanted to change. Better training for officers, real punishment for bad behavior, community oversight with real power. She thanked her neighbors who spoke up. Without them, maybe no one would have believed her. Her final words were simple. I run because I love it. I won't let anyone take that from me, not on the track, not in my own neighborhood, not anywhere. This case was not about one bad officer. It was about a pattern that happens everywhere. Studies show Black people are stopped by police more often than white people, even when they are doing nothing wrong, even in their own neighborhoods. Maasai Russell had something most people don't: fame, witnesses, cameras, resources. What about the people who don't have those things? What happens to them? That is the real question. So let me ask you, do we want a country where Olympic champions can be handcuffed for jogging in their own neighborhoods? Do we want officers with 6 complaints to still be on patrol? Do we want a system where your rights depend on whether someone recognizes your face? Because if we don't fix the bias, if we don't demand accountability, if we don't change the system, then we're just waiting. Waiting for the next officer who profiles someone. Waiting for the next innocent person in handcuffs. Waiting for the next viral video that shows the same thing happening again. Comment below, tell me what you think. Should this officer be fired, or is leave enough? If you believe stories like this need to be told, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing these incidents. We're going to keep demanding better. We're going to keep showing you what really happens when the cameras are rolling. This isn't just about one officer and one Olympic athlete. It's about all of us. It's about the system we choose to accept or the system we choose to challenge. The choice is ours. See you in the next one.